One. All right, welcome back to the Speak Your Piece podcast. My name is Ian McNaughton, Big E here. Pleased to be joined by SYP creator Fuji. Fuji, what's going on, man? What's happening? What's the vibe like for you right now?
Good vibes only, man. Good vibes only.
I like that. I like good vibes. We're doing a basketball podcast. It's the evening of November 17th. I don't know what basketball games are going on right now because I don't know what day it is. I just said it's 17th. I don't know who's playing. Fuji probably knows a lot more than I do, and that's why he's here. He's here to talk basketball. He's here to talk NBA to make up for my incompetencies. So shout out to Fuji for, picking up for me. So we got a lot we got to discuss. What do you want to talk about first? Since you're the guest, what do you, Fuji, want to talk about first?
I think we could talk about who's hot right now in the NBA.
All right, I like that. Let's go with Golden State. Let's start with the Warriors, okay? Let's start with GSW. Not to be confused with GS9, which only Squamish people will know. Bringing that reference back. The Golden State Warriors are the best team in basketball right now. Fuji, I think they're contenders. I think they're legit. I don't know about you, but I'm curious to know, what are your thoughts on the Warriors?
I think they definitely are, and they're only going to get better. I think Klay Thompson's coming back before Christmas. Nice little early Christmas present. Yeah, they're the best defensive team in the NBA, and they have really the best offensive player in the NBA right now, Steph Curry.
They have the most points in the NBA. They're tied for the most rebounds. They have almost 50 rebounds a game on average, which is putting in work. Klay's going to be coming back. Andre Iguodala, maybe he's going to come back. Maybe he'll provide a spark for the Warriors. Maybe he'll be something. I don't know. Maybe. I'm amazed to see that this team doing another character transformation from dynasty to kind of stunk for like the last few years, and now they're back to being great again. It's great for the league, I think. What are your thoughts on Golden State being good? Like this is positive for the NBA, no?
Yeah, of course. I think they finally shuffled enough guys around. They got the right guys to go around Steph. They've got shooters. They've got great defenders. Guys are hustling for rebounds. It's just so fun to watch Steph. Like, you don't want to see Steph playing for, like a play-in. You want to see Steph, in the playoffs. You want to see him more than 82 games a year. You want to see him every game practically. It's just so fun, when the Warriors are good, because you see threes everywhere. It's just fun to watch.
They're having a lot of fun. Steph's got to be the MVP right now.
I think one of them.
One of them? Okay. Let's talk about another exciting early season team. The Chicago Bulls. The Bulls. They're back. Speaking of teams who are back. I was watching them against the Lakers the other day.
Mm-hmm.
That team is good. That team, I think, is good. They know who they are. I think they kind of use their pieces properly. Like, they've developed Lonzo Ball into a shooter, which is impressive. What are your takeaways on the Bulls early on this year?
I think they mesh a lot better than people thought they were going to. Their defense is one of the best things about them right now, which was surprising as well. They're doing a lot better than people thought they were going to do. And it's just, this team's full of surprises. You see, Lonzo's knocking down threes from everywhere. Zach's improving still. And DeMar DeRozan, having the MVP season so far. It's been great to see.
DeRozan is posting above career average numbers in almost every category so far, including 3-point percentage, points. Yeah, I mean, rebounds, assists, you name it. DeRozan is killing it. Our boy Alex Caruso, the Caruso is in Chicago, and I don't know if this team is a championship team, but they are entertaining to watch. They do have a lot of pieces that I like. What's the rookie? Ayo Domasuno?
Mm-hmm.
He was getting some action against the Lakers, and like he looked okay. He like not a starter, but like he looked like he could, be a good role player in the top 8. I like that. I like that about the Bulls. They're figuring it out. It's still early on, but they're figuring it out.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been quite good. They've between their guards and Zach LaVine, the 1, 2, 3, they've been the best in the league in that trio. They've been leading tons of stat categories between those three. They lead in points, they lead in stops, they lead in 3-point percentage, points, like lowest in points allowed. Those the three of the DeBalzac is the it's the best trio right now, really.
Speaking of former Lakers shining in other places, the Wizards being led by Montrezl Harrell and Kyle Kuzma, they are they're in the top 6, I believe, right now in the East.
They're tied for first right now.
Tied for first, like we all thought. The Wizards.
Yep, like we all thought.
I don't know what to make of the Wizards. I think it's just like a kind of a cool, fun story with them. I'm sure there's a chip on the shoulder for a lot of those guys, including Kuz, Harrell. Bradley Beal is obviously really good. There's no denying that. What do you like about the Wizards?
I think it just shows that, KCP has championship DNA. Wherever he goes, winning happens. I'm looking at the Wizards right now, just like all their pictures on Google, and it's using KCP's mugshot from when he was arrested. I like that touch. I think it's a good touch.
That's awful.
They've been a good team. Like, they're athletic, they're hustling. They've got very consistent shooters and scorers. It's kind of, even though maybe on paper the Wizards might have looked better last year, this team has a lot more depth to it, especially with Trez, because he's always going to be in that 6th man of the year category. And he's just been performing very well because he has more shooters around him than on the Lakers. Also, Spencer Dinwiddie has been like very good this year. I always said he was the best point guard in Brooklyn, and he's going off this year. They've got Spencer Dinwiddie, Bradley Beal, just amazing shot creators, great scorers. Kuz getting more involved in plays. He's becoming a bit of a playmaker now. If you ever see Kuz do his weird look and then no look after passes, look and look away, you see he's getting crafty. It shows that like guys can bounce back. They have a chip on their shoulder. They're gonna work hard and they're gonna perform the next year.
That also, the Wizards team also includes, Rui Hachimura. Isn't Davis Bertans still on the Wizards too? They gave him $70 million.
Yep.
Hell yeah. And then another team I have that I want to discuss, the Phoenix Suns, who obviously are reigning Western Conference champions, but I believe they've won their last 9 games. They're on a heater, should I say. The Phoenix Suns are on a heater. The classic owner gets, accused of poor workplace, toxic workplace environment, and team goes on a run. That's always how it's been, right? I think with the Suns, the nice part about that, like, there's still a lot of carryover from last season, but
Mhm.
they have an identity. They know who they are. They're figuring it out. Chris Paul hasn't lost any of his, skill. Are we thinking that the Suns are going to be repeat Western contenders? They're going to go back to where they were last year?
I think so. Like I'm looking at this roster. I think they've improved a lot, especially around the guard position, picking up Landry Shamet, picking up Elfrid Payton. They're getting better defensively in that area. I don't.
I actually like Shamet. Like I'm actually a Shamet
Yeah,
guy. I think he's just been trying to find the right opportunity, and this is it in Phoenix, playing behind Chris Paul.
yeah, he was looking good in Brooklyn with Harden out. With Harden out, with Kyrie out, Shamet was doing really well. I was pretty surprised that you know the Nets didn't match an offer and keep him in Brooklyn this year, but it's just been a great pickup. Shout out to my guy though, Javale Mcgee, the defensive stopper, premier center in the league. He's been very good for Phoenix. He's been covering when DeAndre Ayton's off the floor. That was a big weakness they had. They just did not have any defensive presence without him. JaVale's putting in that work. He's got the goggles on now. He's locked in. JaVale McGee, another guy who's a winner in this league. He's got championships.
It makes sense because it's kind of like what they did last year with Paul. With Paul, they would only use him for maybe 30 minutes, right? And then they get Cameron Payne to play the rest. Where it's kind of like that. I feel like this year where Paul's playing 30, 35. You get Shamet playing the rest of point guard. Ayton at center is going to be playing 30, 35 minutes. And then you just get JaVale to play the rest.
Yeah, the team's deeper than before. And, they've got a lot of guys they can go to. They have a lot of lineups they can run. We'll see how it goes.
Saving your team for the postseason once again, especially your point guard, some would say. That from what I've heard around the grapevine. Let's talk about some early season favorites who are struggling. The Philadelphia 76ers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can talk about the Ben thing. I feel like that's kind of obvious, but
yeah,
without Ben as a team, they haven't been great.
I thought they were doing better than without Ben, than I thought they would be doing. They still got a lot of great shooters. Joel Embiid was doing a lot of work until he went down with an injury. But obviously, Andre Drummond is not Joel Embiid, not even close. No Ben, no Joel. They're really struggling right now.
I mean, they are 8-7. They are a 500 team. I'm not trying to say they're near the Indiana or Atlanta where they're out of a playoff spot, but they're 8-7, and I think that's another issue that when you rely upon Joel Embiid, who gets injured. Seems like every year he's injured. He's never seems to be completely healthy. I think that's kind of to be expected. But this is a team that if they can figure out the Ben thing, get some chemistry, get Joel Embiid healthy, they could do some damage. They can be a problem. If Tobias Harris starts living up to his max contract, they could start to pull it together. Am I right?
Yeah. I think they could do something. The East. I think the East as a whole right now, she's tight, man. It's there's a 4-way tie at 7. Every team with 7 wins. Then there's everything's just so close. Everything's within 1 or 2 games of each other. Every team, and later on in the season, maybe there's going to be a bigger gap, but right now it seems like anybody could pull ahead.
See, both as we do this on Wednesday, both Philly and the Knicks are tied at 8-7. I think if you had to ask me who would go further in on a playoff run and who goes deeper in the season, I would say the Knicks, just because I feel like I'm more confident in that team's chemistry and their build than Philadelphia, where I feel like Philadelphia is so reliant on Joel. But that's just me. My boy Obi Toppin had a nice couple baskets tonight for the Knicks. So shout out Obi Toppin. I enjoyed him in college. I thought he was great. Milwaukee, defending champions, struggling out of the gate a little bit of a hangover, 7-8. They should turn it around. Speak like that should be a team that should be able to turn it around and get to the
for sure.
playoffs.
I think they're missing a couple of the key role player guys that they had last year, like PJ Tucker. A little worse defending in the paint, but with Giannis, that shouldn't really be that big of an issue. I think they've just got a lot of guys that, new additions to the team that they're trying to build chemistry with, trying to get them more minutes, see how they fit. I think the Bucks could probably be just as good as last year. I think they might even be better around the guard position, the 1-2 positions, the deeper there. Picked up Grayson Allen, Dante DiVincenzo is not injured, he's healthy. We'll have to see how well they do, because I'm sure they'll pick it up.
There's no reason why they shouldn't be like near where Brooklyn is. Like, there's no reason why they shouldn't be near the top of this conference when things are all said and done.
Yeah, it's still early. They're only 4 games back.
Yeah, there's still time. Another team, I got 2 other teams in the East I want to mention. The Atlanta Hawks, not great. Not great. That's a team that I thought would be, pushing people around, and instead they're getting pushed around. Trae Young.
Yeah.
Trae Young, I think he's good, but I wonder if the rest of the team is really what's kind of holding him back. If he still is trying to get the rest of the team going.
Well, last year, they were just the Eastern Conference finalists, and last year this team also started 11-16 before going on a huge, I believe it was 7-0 stretch, but this team definitely doesn't have to worry about anything. They're still like a really young team. They got a lot of talented young guys. I think Trae might have had some issue at the start of the season with the way the new fouls kind of got implemented. I felt like last year, kind of at the end of last year, when I would watch him in the playoffs, a lot of times there's a lot, like, Trae is very skilled and he'll definitely work his way around these like new foul rules, but I felt like a lot of times he would get in a situation and he would just cop out by essentially flopping, but like trying to make it just trying to sell fouls, because he's very good at that. He get the calls all the time. I feel he would just cop out of kind of any defensive scheme or anything just by baiting fouls. But now that he can't, I believe he had 42 points the other night. He'll definitely work around it. He'll definitely learn to play without the foul baiting. But this team's just going to get better.
He has 25.5 points as we record this, which is still more than, Luka Doncic, LeBron James, Jimmy Butler, still getting more average points than some guys. Speaking of teams who are struggling, the Toronto Raptors. The North is still, they're still figuring it out too.
Yeah.
Do you know who the leading scorer for the Raptors is right now?
Scotty Barnes.
It's not Scotty Barnes.
You gotta tell me.
OG Anunoby.
Well, there you go.
He's averaging 20 points a game.
Good for him, man.
Fred's averaging 19.4.
I thought it was gonna be like something surprising, Like you asked it, I was like, oh, this is gonna be. I hope this is like a nice surprise, nice pleasant surprise.
Hey, OG being a leading scorer is like cool, but like also a bit concerning. I feel like if you're the Raptors now, Pascal Siakam has not been he hasn't been totally healthy. He's only played in 4 games this year, but
Yeah.
Fred, if Pascal is not your leading scorer, then Fred VanVleet probably should. But hey, cool to see OG Anunoby putting up buckets.
I don't know. I don't really think that Fred could start on most teams in the league. I think there's a lot of teams in the league that Fred would not be starting for.
Ooh.
But
so all right, here. So who where is Fred as like a point guard? Like, so he's not a top 10 guard for you then?
I would say he's maybe like top 20, top 25.
Top 20. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like that's about right though, honestly. Like, all things considered.
Yeah, but I do. Other than that, like OG's scoring 20 points a game. You know, he improves a lot every year. Like I think when I've seen him this year, he's been able to, do different shots, do different moves I didn't really see from him like 1 or 2, 3, even 1 year ago. He's attempting different shots. He's getting different looks without Pascal there. Because before I used to see him kind of just do like really simple moves or try for open threes. Now I'm seeing him do like step backs. I'm seeing him like give people the old 1-2 crossover. Like, he's evolving as a scorer, which I think is really good because they really need him to do that. You can't just have one of your best players only as like a defensive threat if your team isn't that good as a whole.
Well, and part of it I feel like is like when Siakam's healthy, like he's obviously a really good player. Fred's I think a really good player. And if you can get OG to evolve, I don't know if there's another step that he has in him, but if he can, even if he's averaging 20 points a game, and then get Scotty Barnes going too, like that's a pretty solid 4. That's a pretty solid like top 4 guy like lineup for at least in the East, I should say. Just getting buckets, making plays, defensively. I think that's something that Raptors fans could at least look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're pretty solid right now, but in a way that they have a lot of young guys that they can look to develop, guys that are going to get better. But I also feel like some guys aren't going to get that much better over time, or some guys are kind of at their prime right now. I think they kind of just need to choose a direction. I think they really need to choose what's going to happen at the center position. I see people talking about Pascal playing the center, like running small ball, and Pascal's like on defense as your center, but
you can do that. You can do that sometimes.
Yeah, there's just no, like I was watching them play the Clippers, and Zubac was looking like Shaq. I was watching them play the Sixers and Joel Embiid. Like I thought he was going to have a Wilt Chamberlain 100-point game. Like they're just getting rocked in the paint every time they're playing against a big center. No Raptor player on this roster is over 6'9".
Yeah.
Kind of like they've got a lot of forwards on this team, a lot of like stretch fours, versatile players, but just nobody that can play that center position. Like really,
no Javale Mcgee.
Exactly, no Javale Mcgee. You'd be perfect. Might not fit their timeline of developing players, but
I feel like there's not enough like JaVale McGee types. Like you don't necessarily have to have JaVale or Dwight Howard type. Like Dwight Howard, like not peak Dwight Howard, but still like along those lines of like that guy who can get you like 10 to 12 hard minutes, can muscle guys in the paint, get rebounds. There's not enough of that, and I think I'm kind of with you in that there's not really that guy on the Raptors.
Mm-hmm.
If Pascal's doing that, that's a problem because that's not what Pascal should be doing.
Yeah,
that should be his role. So, final team we'll get off. We'll talk about is the Lakers. They're struggling a little bit.
No, they've been pretty banged up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's definitely some chemistry issues. There's definitely things that need to get worked out, but it's also hard. You can't really work those things out if half your team's in street clothes every game.
Yeah,
Um,
LeBron can, Coach LeBron can only do so much on the sidelines.
yeah,
I thought he was gonna tear the ref a new one when Anthony Davis got tossed the other night. I thought he was going to give the officials his own 2 cents, but he didn't. So
that one's got that ejection's got to be up there. He's just tying his shoe. The ref starts to play. Like, you're supposed to kind of control the game. Of course he's going to be mad. Like, he started the game while he's tying his shoe. I don't know who the ref was, but you got to do a little bit better than that. Yeah, that ejection, that's up there with Joey Crawford throwing Tim Duncan out for laughing. Like, but other than that, like the Lakers, people say they don't have enough shooters. They definitely have shooters. It's just a matter of them being consistent and not being in street clothes during the games.
well,
You know,
I think what I was gonna say was with the Warriors, this kind of feels like in a way like they're on a hot streak right now with the Warriors. Like the Warriors are kind of hot early on, and the Lakers are kind of cool early on. And at some point, I feel like their paths will cross eventually. Like, oh, the Warriors are gonna get cold shooting, and the Lakers are gonna get hot at some point. So they'll meet maybe in February at the All-Star break. It'll be close. When I was watching them the other night, there was too many missed Westbrook threes for my liking.
yeah, I
But
think I don't think it's about Westbrook not being like a good fit on this team. I think Westbrook can very easily exist in this team. Um, I'm tired of the Russ slander because this happens every year. Russ has a bad start to the year. Maybe he's got an injury or he just doesn't have he's not consistent with everything, doesn't know how to mesh with everybody. And then after All-Star break, he starts popping off. The triple double machine turns on. Everyone says, "Holy shit, this is the best point guard to ever play basketball." And
MVP.
yeah, why was this guy not in MVP conversation? Blah blah blah. And this happens every year. He struggles at the start. He eats up later. They'll figure it out. Like Vogel's a great coach. They've got all the pieces they need around Brett Westbrook. I think they just need to, Anthony Davis is a stretch four. He likes to shoot. He likes to be on the perimeter. LeBron can shoot, obviously. I think they just need the ball more centered around Westbrook than Westbrook playing off of other people. That's never been his game. He's obviously not shooting very well right now. Maybe he has an injury we don't know about, or maybe it's just not his time. We got to wait till after All-Star break. I definitely think that they could weaponize Westbrook in a way that he could get more points in the paint, or he could just he could distribute the ball more.
I agree with you. The one issue I had with Westbrook the other night was when he was shooting after the whistle and he was still missing the after whistle three.
That's the heat check right there.
That's the heat check. But when you're down 15 and you're still missing those clearly after the whistle shots, and those aren't going in, that's a little bit concerning. But you know what? That's just extra reps. That's just extra shots. Another opportunity to get better, right?
Man, maybe he's just tired,
Aren't we all tired?
We are.
Haven't we all just been through enough? I have some notable players I want to talk about. Maybe my MVP candidates. I don't know if you have any other players you want to talk about. Obviously, we talked about Steph Curry. He's just killing it right now with the Warriors. DeMar DeRozan, he's having a great season as well with Zach LaVine. Not really surprising to see Curry do well. We obviously know how good Steph Curry is. I'm a little bit surprised to see how well DeMar DeRozan's doing, considering this is a new team, high expectations. A little bit surprised. But then there's also Kevin Durant, who is leading the league in scoring and is just making everybody look silly. Which, I mean, that's what he does. Your thoughts on like Kevin Durant with Brooklyn? What are you liking with the Kevin Durant year so far?
I think if you popped Kevin Durant on any team, I think he would be getting 30 points per game. I just think that there's a problem with the Nets. Obviously, they're missing a key player. They're missing, James Harden's not performing very well. They have issues with their depth. I feel like Kevin Durant, LaMarcus, Patty Mills off the bench. I think that's the only thing they really have going for them right now.
Blake Griffin.
Yeah. He's not doing as well as I hope he'd do, but
I saw someone do the daddy TikTok, daddy, with Blake Griffin. And I'm like, this is too much internet for one day. I'm sorry. This is a bit much. Is there any other like MVPs or like players you want to spotlight early on this season?
Gotta go with Jokic.
Hell yeah.
He's going to have this year. He's going to have a better season than he did last year, and he was the MVP last year. So it's hard to imagine that this guy is going to be even better than he was last year, and he's going as an MVP. And he's not even in most people's like top 3 MVP conversations right now. Jimmy he's been really good as well. Like he does it on both ends of the floor. It's the Jimmy Butler redemption year. Their team's been a lot better. The Heat as a whole have just been a lot better this year.
Did you see, I think, is it their city edition uniforms where like they have a piece of like every jersey, like Miami's built up with
mashup jerseys.
The mashup jerseys. I don't know if I like those.
I'm not too big on them. They're kind of growing on me though. But I don't feel like you could ever top the Vice City jerseys though.
No, but it looks like those those like ransom notes or whatever where like somebody cuts out letters from a magazine. Like that's kind of what it looks like. I don't know if I like that. Another guy, I know he's a Clipper, but another guy I want to shout out is Paul George.
Yeah, Paul George's having a great year.
Playoff P is doing it in the regular season.
Yeah. Like even though he hasn't been shooting very well some games, he's still getting to the line a lot, and he's getting a lot of points. Like he's over 20 points per game, and he's arguably like one of the best defensive players right now. He's doing great on offense. No Kawhi Leonard. I think if he was shooting better, I think he would be in MVP conversations.
Listen, he's taken a lot of shit since he moved to LA. I'm going to give him like the benefit of like, you know what? He's doing well this far. Like he's doing well already. Like I'm going to give him the acknowledgement of how well he's played early on this season. That's kind of, those are the like MVPs guys I wanted to highlight. I appreciate you highlighting Jokic. He's my NBA king pretty much. My inspiration. I said that I feel like my NBA comp is Jokic, in which SYP creator Rav said it's more like Miles Plumlee.
Hey man, Miles Plumlee can rap. Have you ever heard Miles Plumlee rap? He's got bars.
I have not heard him rap. Do you think is he up there for like best rappers in the league?
It's kind of hard to say because I can't really think of who raps in the league other than Dame.
Dame is like didn't LeBron do like some music for Space Jam 2?
He probably did. I don't know. I think Dame Dolla and Miles Plumlee or Mason Plumlee should do a collab.
Mason, that's what I'm thinking. Mason, not Miles. I do have two other things I want to mention here. The Cavs, the Cleveland Cavaliers,
Yeah.
fucking rock.
Yeah.
With Colin Sexton, Evan Mobley. Now Mobley's out. Kevin Love. The Cavs rock, man. Like I'm considering getting back on the Cavs bandwagon.
Hey man, I think now is a good time. It's been cool to see because they were talking about this starting lineup of 7 foot tall Lauri Markkanen, 7 foot tall Evan Mobley, and then like 7 foot tall Jarrett Allen, and everyone was like, "What? This isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. This is just a way to sell tickets." But it works because nobody's been able to attack this team in the paint really. They've got shot blocking threats, 3 shot blocking threats based on the floor, pretty much in their starting lineup. So most of the game, they've been able to pick up some solid role players, some solid guys that could knock down shots, make plays for you, like Ricky Rubio, who had 37 career high the other night against the Knicks. They got Denzel Valentine. He's solid. Probably 6-man option or shooter off the bench. Darius Garland and Colin Sexton, the Sexland duo. They've just been they get better every year. They're talking about getting rid of Sexton, saying he's not a good fit. But I mean, this year they've been really good. Colin Sexton's been able to pick up on the defensive end. Garland's getting more involved there. This team has been really good defensively. They've got a decent defensive guard duo. They've got great paint protection. And they're young guys, so they're hustling a lot. They're running up and down the floor, even with like 3 7 foot tall players. I feel like they kind of are the real deal.
This isn't like a few years ago when they traded for Drummond and they had the trio of Drummond, Tristan Thompson, and Kevin Love. But it's close. It's close. And I don't know what to make of this team sometimes, but like I'm all for it. There's like a lot of chaos with the Cavs that I enjoy watching and that I like. So I think the Cavs are legit. Miles Turner and Mo Bamba are getting a bunch of blocks this year. Miles Turner is averaging a block more than anybody else per game in the league.
I mean, Miles Turner is the best shot blocker in the league. He's been that way for the last 2 seasons, but he's had injuries. He just hasn't been healthy enough to kind of compete for a Defensive Player of the Year award. I had him as my Defensive Player of the Year last year, I believe. I thought he was going to finally beat out the Stifle Tower, Rudy Gobert, but he was injured. He got a knee injury, ended the season. Hopefully, this is the year that he wins the award finally.
I hope the Lakers trade for him.
With what?
I don't know. But I mean, like, I just want to see him on the Lakers. Listen, I like Indiana too. Don't get me wrong. I like Sabonis. I like Miles Turner.
Yeah.
I like those guys.
The boner.
Like I like those guys. But like, I think Miles needs to be on an NBA, championship contender. And he needs to go to the Lakers. Maybe with Mo Bamba too. I have no idea what Mo Bamba's value is in the NBA right now, but like I just want to, give some praise to some shot blockers. I think those guys are cool.
Yeah. I think I mentioned last year that the Raptors should have been trading for Miles Turner in the offseason. I think that's still pretty relevant now. I think he's exactly what the Raptors need if they want to improve. He's fairly young. I believe he's only like 26.
I think that's right. 25. I'm going to pull that up.
He's still a guy that you could have for another 5-6 years on your team.
Miles Turner is 25 years old.
Yeah, there we go. He's a really good player. He's probably going to be in the league for quite a bit longer. The value of shot blockers right now is, kind of increasing. Guys like centers, power forwards, they want to be like stretch fours. They want to be Kevin Love, man. They want to be out on the perimeter shooting. They want to be doing they want to be taking jumpers. They want to handle the ball. Everybody wants to be Kevin Love right now, but you still need those shot blockers, man.
You still need those Miles Turners.
Yeah. And those JaVale McGees.
Exactly. Those Dwight Howards. Do you have any other teams or players that you want to shout out or mention? I mean, I know you talked about like Jokic as an MVP candidate and Jimmy Butler. Mm-hmm. Is there another guy or player that you want to shout out?
I got to shout out Cole Anthony because
hell yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome seeing Cole Anthony because I love his post-game interviews, love his energy. This dude's killing it this year. I was kind of wondering what the Magic were going to look like around the guard position because they have 4 guards that could be, the next franchise guy. They have 4 of them. They have Markel, they got Jalen, they got Cole, and they got RJ. And I was kind of wondering which one of these guys is going to be the next guy to take over. I didn't really think it was going to be Cole. I thought Jalen was going to be better than he is. I thought maybe I don't think Markel's returned yet, but it's been nice to see Cole Anthony. He's been doing really well. He's an undersized point guard. It's always nice when they're kind of heating up. It kind of reminds me of Isaiah Thomas on the Celtics.
And at least I mentioned last podcast, as everybody should know, we stand short Kings on this podcast. I mean, Armin hasn't been on for a while, but we stand short Kings. And, I think we said this at the beginning of the season of Orlando's going to be fun. They're not going to be good, but at least they're going to be fun. And, there's going to be some times where this team is not going to be, good or competitive, but they are at least entertaining with the guys that they have on their team. They got a win against Utah. They got a win against the Knicks. They got some stuff going on here. There's some stuff happening.
They got 2 wins against the Knicks this season.
2 wins. 2 wins against the Knicks. What am I talking about? Both in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah. Bing bong.
So Orlando, they rock. By the way, another guy I feel like I should mention, redemption year, Tyler Hero.
Mm-hmm. I think he's definitely been doing better. I feel like last year he didn't really work on his game at all. This year he's improved. I do feel like his stats are inflated though. I think Spoelstra, he's not starting, even though he probably could be a starter. But the reason why I think his stats are inflated is because I've watched a few Heat games, and I've kind of watched where Spoelstra is a genius coach. And what he's been doing with Harrow is he's been starting Duncan Robinson because Duncan Robinson obviously a better shooter, not a better scorer or playmaker, better shooter. And he's been putting Tyler in when he sees a weak guard matchup or when another team, has those minutes where they're trying to get some rest for their guards or the perimeter defenders. He puts Harrow in. He puts Harrow in every time. Every time, easy buckets, barbecue chicken. That's when Tyler's in. Anybody that Harrow could just expose, he's exposed when matching them up. And I feel like if Harrow was starting, if he was playing a lot more minutes, his numbers wouldn't be as good.
That's probably fair. I was gonna say something less in depth, something about how he's isn't he a dad now, or he's got a kid on the way.
He does.
And maybe he's having, more sex now, which is helping. Maybe that's giving confidence. I don't know. But I think
I'm sure if you did a song with Jack Harlow, you'd be having a lot of sex.
Probably. I mean, who wouldn't be? I wouldn't know because I'm not in any songs with Jack Harlow, so you can kind of see where I'm going. You got to see where I'm going with there. Tyler Hero, redemption season. That's my point there. We have 3 mailbag questions, by the way.
Boy.
3 mailbag questions. One coming from SYP creator Scott asking, how nasty is Steph Curry?
I think Steph is probably the front runner for MVP this year, and I think this is probably the best we've seen Steph Curry. Like, there's been seasons where Steph's like the undisputed best offensive player in the league, undisputed MVP. I think this is the best Steph Curry that I've ever seen.
This is this might be my most impressive, like the most impressed I've been with Steph Curry, because he's been battling injury, battling team failures / success. Like a team, like it's easy when you have a dynasty. It's easy like when the team was really good as it was. Now where you don't have some of the same pieces, it's not quite as easy. And he's crushing it. He's the nasty. How about that? He is the good. 2 questions from friend of the pod, Will Pip. After a hot start to the season, are the Wizards real or fake? Where did they end up after 82?
It's kind of hard to say. Like, I feel like they have really good players for the regular season. I always feel like Trez struggles in the playoff. So, like, he's an undersized big man. Like, he plays exactly like a big man. He's got some of the best post moves footwork in the league. He's can be getting better around the mid range. Still no like 3-point shot yet. That's fine. It's not his thing. He's a decent shot blocker. For his size, he's about 6'8". He's a very good shot blocker for his size. I think it's kind of, he always runs into this issue in the playoffs where he's not the most mobile around the perimeter. He gets worked around the perimeter. It's not the best shot blocker. So it's kind of hard for him to play like major minutes when you would need Trez. I think it kind of depends on other guys to step up. It would be interesting to see once Hachimura's back, because he kind of plays the same position, but I feel like he's more versatile, like with shooting. He's around the same size as Trez, but I feel like he'd be a better perimeter defender. He's a bit more mobile. We'll have to see how it goes, because there's definitely a lot of questions like that, for example. They're a deep team, though, so we'll have to see.
I'm going to say they're fake. I don't know if I entirely believe the Wizards for who they. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like their pieces, but this is probably a team that's probably going to be in the play-in game. Like, that's what I think this team is probably going to be doing after 82.
I think they could be middle of the pack. I think they could be up to the 4th spot.
Ooh, okay.
I don't know. I think they have this mix of like young guys that are like peaking, guys that they need to develop. I think that's going to like hurt them some games, because it's like, do we win now? Are we like trying to get more time for our young guys? There's always like that kind of thing that's going to be in the back of their head. Like, is this the Bradley Beal title run? Is this like, is this where we try and make Hachimura the face of the franchise?
If the Wizards make the playoffs, is Bradley Beal the MVP?
I don't know, man. Like, I don't feel like Bradley Beal's been as good as last year, but I feel like he has a lot more pieces around him. Like, he doesn't have to go and score 32 points a game. Like, he's got Spencer, he's got Kuz, KCP's solid. Trez has been very good off the bench. Like, they've got more playmakers, more shot creators. I think it takes away from how good Beal is. Like, I think he is at the guard position outside of Curry, like the best 3-level scorer as a guard. right now.
Okay. Will Pip also asked, once fully healthy, are the Warriors contenders? Why not? And is Steph an early season MVP? Yeah, so Steph's an early season MVP. I feel like when fully healthy, this team should be contending for a championship.
Yeah. Even like what Stephen A said, like if Klay Thompson is back in 85% or more, like the Warriors are a lock for the title. I feel like that's real. Obviously, Steph has had injuries in the past. That's definitely going to slow him down if he has injuries. But I feel like this team's more balanced. I feel like there's more scorers. Jordan Poole's been very good. He's been kind of that missing like scorer that Steph hasn't been able to have alongside him around the 3-point line. That's kind of always been the Warriors thing. Like, oh, if you're going to run Curry off the line, we'll throw it to Klay. Like, they haven't had that. Like, they tried that a bit with D'Lo, but Steph missed most of the season, and they didn't like D'Lo. Maybe his work ethic wasn't very good, or, he was a problem in the locker room. But, Steph has that guy who can, light it up. There's been nights this season, even though Steph's like MVP mode, where Jordan Poole is like the best performing player on the team. And if you throw Klay in the mix, I think this team's like a title lock, really.
I was gonna say with Poole, remember the 1 year where like not last season, but I think it was like the season before, like maybe it was pre-COVID when the Warriors were just bad because everybody was just injured. And like Jordan Poole was like one of the like guys who was putting up like 12, 15 points a night for them.
Yeah.
He got a year in Steve Kerr's system without the aspect of having Steph Curry there, without Klay Thompson there, without Draymond there. Mm-hmm. And he got to learn, probably it was more one-on-one time with Steve Kerr, which would have helped. And it's kind of paying off this year. Like you mentioned, he's another scoring option for them that they can, maybe not their first option or their second option, but like if they need a basket, he's someone who can get a basket.
Yeah, for sure. I just think they have so many like versatile players. Like it reminds me of the Warriors dynasties where they have all of these great defenders and they have all these guys that buy in. And they're younger, like outside of, the core, like Steph, Klay, Draymond, Iguodala, Kevon Looney, like that, those kind of guys that were there before, like everyone's, they're all guys that are younger, but they all buy in and they're all pretty skilled guys. Like they're all consistent. They're all playing great defense, number one defense in the league. They've got, the best scorer in the game right now.
So yeah, they're title contenders. Fuji, I think that's all we got for this podcast. Is there anything else you want to mention, you want to discuss? Crypto.com arena. I don't know if there's anything else you wanna.
I don't want to discuss crypto.com arena. That's not something we're discussing.
Not on this episode. Any other basketball headlines, discussions, anything else any other hot takes you want to get off your chest while you can?
Shout out to Caruso, man. Second steals per game, and he's coming off the bench. Everyone thought he was a meme, man. He's not a meme. He's the GOAT.
I hear he's like sneaky athletic. He's
he's just athletic in general.
Yeah, like I've heard he's got strong athletic, but like almost like lacrosse player athletic type. That's what I've heard. I'm glad you shout out because we're big Caruso guys here on this podcast. As Lakers stands, we root for Caruso.
Yeah. And shout out to Miles Bridges because the Hornets are doing very well. And outside of obviously LaMelo Ball, who everyone would praise, Miles Bridges really stepped up this year. He's doing a lot better than I thought he would. I didn't see this coming from him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Charlotte is just good. The Hornets are legit.
They're exciting, man.
They're exciting. What if Charlotte is like a better version of Orlando, I think. Not just the cities, but like as actual basketball teams.
I've never been to Orlando or Charlotte, so I couldn't tell you. But I don't know, man. I love Cole Anthony. He's my favorite, man.
You have a lot of time for Cole Anthony. I got you.
That's my dog, man. It's my boy.
Fuji, is there anything you wanna plug or you wanna mention here on the podcast before we sign off?
Um, yeah, sure, man. Norman Rudy's,
Hell yeah.
Norman Rudy's. I love that place. It's a good place, good restaurant. I hear there's some fantastic cooks there. They're running specials every day.
I was talking with my mother and she went to Norman. I have no idea if she was there when you were there. She didn't say, but she said that the food there was really good.
See, man.
So
we already know.
So, Biggie's mom, she's big into Norman Rudy's. So you got fans all over the place, man.
Yep.
Well, that's great. This has been another exciting episode of the Speak Your Piece podcast. We got another episode coming on later this week with SYP creator Ravisher. So stay tuned. Yeah, stay tuned for that. Fuji, thank you for your time and effort. It's always appreciated. We're gonna do some more basketball stuff here later on. Maybe we'll do a pre-Christmas podcast. Maybe we'll get in person and we'll do some Christmas, pre-Christmas thing. Get Scott. Armin's not going to be around, unfortunately, but we'll make something happen.
Yeah, we'll do something.
So this has been a Speak Your Piece podcast. We'll be back again soon. Peace out.
Peace.